Mother, man.
Hey, this is Rob Dukes. You're listening to Murder Metal Mayhem. Have a good fucking day.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem! I have the privilege of doing this interview with Rob Dukes, former singer of Exodus and currently for Generation Kill. Rob's a beast on the microphone, and I'm personally stoked to be doing this interview today with you, Rob. How are things going for you in sunny Arizona these days?
Oh, it's fucking beautiful out now. Yeah, man. No more heat. It actually came in a little earlier. Like normally it's until about Halloween, but it came in actually in early October. You can turn the AC off and open the windows so let the screens let the air in at night, and it's fucking killer. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's starting to get really fucking cold here in Illinois. So starting to scrape the ice off the windshield. So it's we're both from the same part of the world. So
yeah.
Because
I don't miss that shit at all.
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't. My dad always reminds me of it there in Arizona about how the weather is. So
yeah.
Now I see you grew up in the New York City area. So did I. How much of an influence was New York City music on your heavy metal education?
Not too much, to be honest.
Okay.
I listened to more like English bands from England, and then I guess my first real introduction to metal was English bands. So Sabbath and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden,
right.
And then the influx from California really hit. I didn't really catch up into the metal bands of New York until later, and I mean, some of them I don't even know if people would consider metal. I mean, there was Anthrax, of course, but I mean, more bands like Helmet and
right.
Prong,
Cro-Mags.
Well, that was like hardcore stuff. So that was like,
right.
I always found that to be different.
Right.
Talking about stuff that had guitar solos. And then I always figured hardcore was the stuff that didn't have guitar solos.
That's a good way to put it.
But like I was listening, a lot of Prong and where was Ministry from originally? They were from California, right?
I think so. I'm not 100%. I'm not a big fan of the industrial type stuff, but
yeah,
it's
I had
cool.
that going on for a minute. Yeah, I had it going on for a minute, but I know that Tommy from Prong was playing in Ministry for a while, and I always found those records really good. So, I mean, as far as the New York scene, I always found New York. I mean, I love New York. I miss New York. I miss my friends that are there. I miss, the New York City in itself.
Right.
But there's something about the desert just kind of got a hold of me, man. I fucking love it out here in the desert. I just do.
Most people out there don't miss being back home. That's for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
The music scene here is cool because now everyone's going to start coming through now that it's not summer anymore.
Right.
In the summertime, bands don't come here because it's so fucking hot. I mean, we're talking,
oh yeah,
who the fuck wants to go to a club when it's 115 degrees? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there's certain times of the year where it never gets below 100. Even at night, it's still 105 at 2 a.m. It's fucking crazy.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah. Well, that's
anyway.
Interesting. That's interesting. Now, I say that you rode your bike across the U.S. and ended up in California, and that's how you ran into the guys from Exodus. Is that correct? That's how that...
That's in a way, yeah. So I kind of... It was after 9/11, and it was that 6 or 7 months after 9/11. New York changed. I changed. The city was weird, and anyway, it was that time in my life I just kind of I wanted to make a change. So I gave away everything I owned to my friends, and I took some clothes and I packed up a motorcycle and I fucking drove to California.
Wow.
With I was gonna originally I was gonna be a scuba dive instructor. That was my goal, and it never came to fruition. I ended up working at clubs and getting a bartending gig, and then I kind of never made it to the scuba diving scene out there. And then of course I ran into Exodus on the tour, being hired to be a guitar tech. So I got fucking cat hair all over me. Fucking cat. Anyway, yeah. So, and then that, and then that spawned the next, decade of my life.
Yeah, that's almost like, the heavy metal fan dream come true. You get to guitar tech for Exodus, and then the next thing you know, you're trying out for their lead singer position. That's just crazy. I mean, to even fucking think about it, because Exodus is, to me, like right at the pinnacle of the shit that I love, thrash and the Bay Area stuff, and they're like the godfathers of that shit out there. So, I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation.
Well, I mean, you put it in that way, in those simple terms. Yeah, that's kind of the way, the truth was I wasn't trying. That wasn't my aspirations. It kind of fell in my lap, and I took advantage of the situation that I was given. So that being said, I got thrown into the fire, man, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like I was 18. I was 37 years old.
Wow.
So, anyway, it all worked out. So
yeah, it sure did.
Cheers, Exodus.
Hell yeah, man. Now, you spent 10 years singing for Exodus from 2004 to 2014. And in my opinion, those albums you did, the 4 albums you did with them, are among the best Exodus albums, I think, in my opinion. They fucking kill, dude. I mean, your performance and the band as a whole just sounded so damn good on those 4 albums. I'm just blown away at it, honestly, because you had to walk in there into some pretty big shoes. I mean, Paul Bailoff and Zetro, and then you. That was impressive, man. I saw you on the Shovel-Headed Kill Machine tour up in Chicago, and I was completely floored, man.
What venue was that? Was that the House of Blues?
I think it was the House of Blues, because my son and I did an interview backstage with Gary and Paul before the show. I used to run a online magazine, and I did a lot of interviews with bands from Nuclear Blast and stuff. So I was up in the backstage talking to Gary and Paul, and you, like I said, I'd never seen them without Zetro. So then seeing them with you, I mean, I was just completely floored because it sounded so good. And like I said,
Thanks,
even
man.
the band almost had like a kind of a rejuvenation with some different blood in there. It just killed every one of those albums, man. Nothing to be ashamed of in the least, man. Just really good stuff.
Not at all, man.
No, they're great stuff.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I think the band took a turn, after Tempo. I think, they kind of, left that I don't know if it was, I'm not going to say silly, but it was like that tongue-in-cheek kind of attitude.
Yeah, that's true. It got nastier.
That kind of left. It got meaner, and it got darker, and I, I was just doing my best to lead it down that path, man. So
yeah, I love the subject matter too. The Leonard Lake and Charles Ng thing. I mean, that's friggin' awesome. I mean, the Nanking. I actually was in a band and wrote a song about the rape of Nanking, also called Mountains of the Dead. And when I heard you guys did it, I just wanted to hear how someone else did, because that's such a brutal, absolutely brutal atrocity. So you guys did pick some really dark subject matter to write about on those albums. So I loved
pretty
it.
much. Man.
Yeah, I like that
man.
shit.
Right on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, how involved were you in those days in the songwriting process and or the lyrics? Did you write all your own lyrics, or did they write some too?
No. Gary writes all the lyrics as far as when Exodus. So I wrote about 4 or 5 songs in my time. I wrote the Leonard and Charles, the Ballad of Leonard and Charles.
Okay.
I wrote Karma's Messenger. I wrote Children of a Worthless God.
Oh, dude.
I wrote Democide. I had a hand in Raise. Another song called Devil's Teeth. That was the
just
bonus
listened to
track.
that today.
So I did, I did write a few songs, but Gary did the most of it. And,
okay.
with the exception of those songs, the way it would work was Gary would actually sing it, and then I would just get the melody from him. Whereas when I wrote the lyrics, he let me do my own melodies. So,
oh, cool.
So if you ever listen to those songs, you can hear there's like a distinct difference.
Yeah, I'll have to listen for that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
And when it comes to Generation Kill, I write all the lyrics and I do all the vocals. So it's just it just makes it easier, and no one's really expressed any desire to do it anyway. So with that,
that's cool.
I get to come up with my own melodies, and it just works out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Now, I definitely don't want to get into the negative side of your split with Exodus. I'm really glad to see you guys are cool, and I know Gary did some work with your band, so that's really awesome. And you started Generation Kill, and I think it was 2008. Can you tell us a little bit about that project and kind of what's coming up for you guys?
So it really was, I would come home from tour with Exodus, and I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't go to bars and hang out. And so I would come home and I'd just be fucking bored. So I called up some friends I had, and I was like, hey man, let's get together in a room and just play some covers. We were doing a bunch of Priest and Maiden and Sabbath and just, Metallica, and just, having some fun as a bunch of guys who also didn't really party that much. So, it was fun to do. And then it turned into starting writing originals. And then we did that first demo. The Red, White, and Blood was kind of like a demo. We kind of did that. And then after that, we got more serious and we started really concentrating on writing songs, and getting signed to Nuclear Blast, getting Zeus as a producer, and working with him and getting a record done. And then, then it became like a serious thing. We went on tour in Europe. We, started playing more shows, and then we took a little hiatus to work with Daryl, DMC from Run DMC. We took put ourselves on the back burner, did that with him. And then after that, we started working on our own stuff. And then we had a bass player change. So, we brought in a new bass player. So all the songs we had written, we kind of got rid of those and started over from scratch with our new bass player. So we finally finished the whole the record. And I've been working here with Mike Gilbert from Flotsam and Jetsam. He has a small studio here, and I've been working with him and getting that album completed and done. And it comes out in January.
Fantastic.
And we got so Gary Holt played on it. I got John Joseph from the Cro-Mags to play on it and sing on it with me.
Nice.
I got Chris Poland from Megadeth, the original.
Yeah.
I got him to do a solo for me on it.
Damn.
So
nice.
It's very, very cool, man.
That
very,
is
very
cool.
Cool songs. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, once again, very dark subject matter, very dark, shit.
No, not with a
on.
band named Generation Kill.
Yeah.
I mean, why would I think anything? I didn't think you were doing
So
the
we
next
have-
Lion King soundtrack or anything.
Yeah. So we have 3 videos out. We have a video for Never Relent. We have a
Yes.
video for the Rat King, which is an animated video, and then we did another video with that we actually kind of acted and called it Into the Black, where we actually did a little bit of had some fun as a
I'll
band.
have to check
hang
that out.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's like we got abducted by aliens. That's kind of the premise
Oh,
of
nice.
the aliens taking over the earth. That's the premise
shit.
of the whole. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So What would you say was your beginning? What was your first metal show that you can remember, and what kind of impact did it have on you to maybe want to get playing, or did that, come later
I
on?
wanted to play. There's pictures of me, like, so I grew up basically an only child. So there's pictures of me when I'm young with just big headphones on, sitting in front of a stereo and just listening to music. And I did that from a very young age. And I think from very early on, I knew that that music had such a huge impact on me. I never thought it would be actually feasible or possible. I didn't have anyone behind me going, oh, you can make a living doing this, or you can, you should play guitar. Or you should like no one. I didn't have, like, there wasn't any of that in my family. So it just kind of just happened, and honestly, I mean, when I was younger, I started drinking when I was like about 15, and I drank real heavily for 10 years. I stopped drinking when I was 25. So I pretty much wasted that 10-year period being just a drunken nightmare of a human being. I accomplished very little. I got in a lot of trouble, and I was just very lost as a human being. And then something happened when I was 25. It just like a switch happened, and I decided that that I wasn't going to do that anymore. So I quit drinking, and then my life kind of took a turn, and I started taking other things more seriously. I went back to school. I did, some school stuff, and then that didn't really. It was good. I mean, it was good to learn something new and have some skills doing stuff, but it wasn't anything I really enjoyed. I actually worked in the field for like 2 years, and I just fucking hated it. And then, so I got back into the, bartending world, the nightlife world. I was always a night owl, what I mean? I was a bartender and worked at clubs. And then when I moved to LA, I used those things I learned, and I started doing the same thing. And then, so I've always been attracted to that, life at night and the entertainment world. And I always knew that I wanted to be a part of it, but there's something, you don't always, I didn't know that at 15 I could get together a band, get in a van, and go play clubs. Like there wasn't even honestly, no one ever told me that was even an option. I always thought it was something so grandiose, and so something like you had to be. It was like being an IndyCar driver, man. You had to be cultivated when you were young, or even a hockey player. Like you had to be doing it forever. Right. It wasn't something you could just pick up and do. And I never found myself feeling like I was gifted in that way, like that I had it. And I was wrong. You know what I mean? Because if you just, look, man, it was right place, right time, and a little bit of and a lot of luck that got me to where I was at. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I had just enough talent to get my foot in the door and then cultivate it. And, through 10 years of being a touring musician professionally, I think I became a professional musician, and I kind of know what it takes to do that, and I can make money from it, and I can, make a living from it. So, that being said, that's a long way from being, 15 years old, sitting with a guitar and dreaming about being Van Halen, right? But not doing any of the work. Right. I mean, that was where I faltered. I thought it had to be magic. Right. It couldn't possibly be hard work. Sure. I just didn't have any of that. Interesting. Until later.
Very, very interesting. Now, what do you think about the state of metal today? Obviously, you and I are about a year apart, so we come from the same era of music, and it's evolved so much, and the pandemic just dropped a mushroom cloud on everybody's life. But aside from all that bullshit, what do you think of metal today? I mean, you get to see a lot of bands that you're still active, and you're bands playing with you and touring with you guys and people in the business? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's I think there's going to be an explosion in the next couple years.
Yeah.
Because everyone's been sitting at home, everyone's
Cooped
been
up, yeah.
locked up, so I think it's going to explode. Like when you look at the 20s,
Right.
you had sorry, I have a plumber fixing my something in my house.
That's okay.
So the Roaring '20s were after, I think, I could be completely wrong historically, but I think there was like this really bad Dust Bowl era where the dust took over the center of the country, and there was like this huge droughts and all this mayhem, and then right after that,
right,
was the Roaring '20s, where people just partied their balls off. It was after the pandemic in 1918. Right after that, everything kind of came after that, and then the '20s just went off the charts. And I think the same thing's going to happen.
That's a good way of looking at it.
I hope we don't have the crash of '29 to follow up, but
right,
you never fucking know. You better save your fucking money.
Right.
So
that's true. Yeah. That's interesting. Now, what about podcasts, Rob? I know you're a busy guy, but do you get a chance to listen to any? And if so, what do you like? Are you a true crime nut? Do you like that kind of stuff?
No. I listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Okay.
I listen to Sam Harris. Has a really good podcast. It's he has these really he's a neuroscientist and a philosopher, and so Sam Harris is one of my favorites. I listen to Rogan from time to time. It depends who the guest is. I listen to a lot of the comedian guests, and then I listen to a lot of the the scientists he has on.
Right.
Lex Friedman has a really good podcast. He's a guy, an MIT guy, who's like really into AI and robotics.
Oh wow!
Listen to him. Dave Chappelle and Mos Def have a podcast called The Midnight Miracle, which is amazing. They have all these guests in that do they had Questlove on, and they had Bill Burr, and he had he had David Letterman. He has just an amazing guest. So I listen to a lot of different shit. So I restore old cars. So I spend a lot of time alone, and when I'm working by myself, I just put in my headphones and I listen to something on tape or listen to a podcast. Or the music I've been listening to lately is mostly I'm gonna say I've been listening to Tommy Guerrero, who's a professional skateboarder turned musician, and he basically does it's a mixture of jazz and hip hop and fusion and Spanish music, and he's really eclectic. I've been really listening to that. I've been listening to Orange Goblin and Caius, my old, my stoner dirt rock shit. Yeah, so that's kind of what I listen to when I'm in my car, if I'm like driving home from work or to work. I need to kind of wake up or whatever, and that's what I listen to when I'm work cleaning or doing cleaning my house or something. I play rock music, and then when I'm focusing on something, if I'm working on a car, it's got to be something without vocals and mellow.
Right.
And then I rarely listen to metal. It's not because I don't enjoy it. It's because I've been writing for the last year or so I try not to be influenced by other shit. So I don't listen to a lot of metal when I'm in that phase. But I get that. When all the new albums come out, I always I listen to the new Hypocrisy is coming out. Exodus is coming out. I got I did listen to the new what the fuck album came out recently that I really loved. It was Well, the Mr. Bungle was great.
Yeah. A new Maiden came out. You like the new Maiden?
I didn't check that out yet. I didn't. Okay. That's on my list. What did I listen to recently that was new that came out?
New Carcass.
No, didn't. That's on my list. Yeah, anything that sounds kind of like what I want to sound like, I don't listen to that. So
I understand though. I used to play too, and I didn't like to listen to stuff like that while I was writing. So I get it. Mm-hmm. I'm a bass player and singer by trade myself. Now,
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to steal it by unconscious.
No, completely understand it. Now, any touring plans, Rob, with things somewhat lifting in some places? I guess it depends on where you live.
Well, so we just signed with Route One and touring in Europe. So they're going to start booking us for festivals and tours next year.
Cool.
Looking at trying to get in definitely 2023 or 22, but like this whole next summer will be that'll be 2022, but definitely 2023 for sure. We'll, going to be doing as much as we can. Awesome. Everything, because everything was so locked up, like everything is booked to the max because every band just wants to go out and fucking play.
Exactly.
So like it's going to be hard. The other side of that is that, we're going to be that band that'll probably be doing a lot of fill it in for canceling bands that couldn't make it or whatever. So what we do have our schedule. We're going to we're just going to suck it up and go do it. Even if I'm old now, I'm, in my 50s, but if I got to go do a van tour, I'm in. Like, fuck it. I mean, I'm coming to the end of my I think the end of my career. I can't see myself doing this in my 60s. I mean, because the music I write doesn't really coexist with being old. You know what I mean? So
no, I got you.
I gotta go out and kind of do it in the next couple of years and get it out of my system, and I want to go out with it and just say, hey, I did it one last time. I had fun. I want to go out and sing the songs that people, if they want to hear them, I'll go out and do them.
Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. Now, my son is a huge fan. I told him we were doing this interview. He had one question he wanted me to ask you. His favorite Exodus song, 44 Magnum Opus. He wants to know what gave you guys the idea to do that one? And is there like a backstory to it?
Well, that song is fucking brutal.
Oh my God.
We did a tour in Europe. We did a 2-week tour, and like it must have been like 2010 or 2009. And Tom Tom had like this vacation plan for like 6 months, and then this tour came up, and it was like, well, we don't want to make him not do his vacation, so we had Nick Barker fill in, and so my cat's just licking the glass door. She's just licking the glass. It makes me laugh.
Wow.
Anyway, so we had Nick Barker fill in. We opened with that song. Fucking opened with it.
Oh,
I mean, we'd come out, do this fucking. We had like I forget what intro we had, but that was the song we came out with. It was just fucking crazy. Gary wrote that song. He watched the movie Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, and that's what the song's about. So if you listen to it, there's a little lines in the movie that he kind of picked through it, and Van Gogh with a gun. That was one of the lines.
I love those. Like, the lyrics are great. Yeah, that's really cool. All right, well, that's good. I wanted to ask you that. Any good metal bands that you know of, maybe more underground? I ask this on every interview because, man, I've learned about some real gems asking this question. So anybody you know that you want to pass on?
Well, there's a couple bands here in Arizona that I've found and I've become friends with, and one is it's this band called Grail, and there's these young kids. They're still in high school, and they're fucking phenomenal, man. They sound like Caius. They're like a Caius type style, just doom, desert rock. So if you like that, their social media is kind of a little bit it's not that great, but they have a record out there on Apple and Spotify. It's just called Grail. Very, very cool. Very cool band for a bunch of kids. Another band called Mothership I like. They're cool. And then, oh man, I mean, you know, I'm not that guy. I don't really go see bands that much unless I, the Old Firm Casuals. You ever heard of them? So the Old Firm Casuals are a Bay Area band. It's Lars Fredrickson from Rancid. Has this like they're not an Oi band, but they kind of play with other Oi bands when they do. They have a couple songs that are Oi songs, but they're just a punk rock band, and they're really fucking good. But they have a couple songs that are almost metal, and so their last album, Holger Dansk, I went out and so me and Lars are friends, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come sing a song?" I'm like, "I'm fucking in." So he goes, "You pick," and I picked this song, and I got up and they came to Arizona, and I jumped up on stage and I played that with them, which was fucking great. I mean, it sounded like when he goes off, because dude, we sound like fucking Slayer. I'm like, I know, man. So we had a good laugh about that. He goes, "This is a punk rock band. We sound fucking heavy when you on vocals." So then I got up, I sang with Machine Head when they rolled through.
Oh, nice.
That was fun, man. I got up and sang Lesson of Violence with them, and yeah, man, there's this band in Kentucky called the Stonecutters. They're just
I've heard of them before.
Yeah, really talented fucking musicians, man. I mean, just the music is off the charts. Like they're like if you like dual guitar solos and they have like a lot of that going on. Two very, very skilled guitar players that are just phenomenal. So
very cool.
A lot of back and forth, like Gary and Lee, Gary and Rick, that kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that great dual guitar attack for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what about your online? How do people get a hold of you, Rob, for Generation Kill or anything else you're doing?
Well, we have a website. It's generationkill.band is our website.
Okay.
We're on all the social media. If you hit, that's how you contacted me, was through Instagram. But if you go through the band site, you hit me up personally. But normally I have like my management deals with all that. They have, they answer all the emails. There's a band email that's connected to the website. But if you hit us up through any kind of social media, I'll try to answer any questions I can. My time's limited, so I can't get back I try to get back to everybody, but if somebody sends me a message, I try to, get in touch with them and try to, at least, I don't mind doing interviews if I have the time.
Sure.
And I just, my regular job, I only work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. I work 3/12s so then I have 4 days off to focus on music and other stuff that I'm doing. So
that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. We'll link to all this stuff in our episode description, anybody that's listening to this. Now, Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here, Murder Metal Mayhem.
Absolutely.
It was great to talk. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we part ways?
No, man. I mean, just everybody be safe out there, go to shows. Because that's how, one of the things is like, even I have Apple Music and I fucking hate it, but I still, when bands have records, I buy their shit. I buy their vinyl. I go to their shows. I go to, to the bands that I like, and I know when I go to their shows, I always spend at least $60 to $80, man, just because I know from being on the inside, that's how
what's putting gas in the tank. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's how they live. So, through this hard time, man, bands are really going to need people to start coming to shows. And I think they're going to want to. So, being a musician, being in a band, I know that I'm going to try and give the best. Even if I'm playing to fucking 50 people, I'm going to pretend I'm playing to the Garden. I'm going to give them everything I got every night. So
that's awesome.
I think a lot of the bands are going to be doing that. So for people to come out to shows and just support, because I mean, I spent so much money on like frivolous nonsense, like I mean, I think I went to Starbucks. I literally went to Starbucks. Me and my manager were in the car, and we were flying to San Francisco. I went to hang out with Tom and from Exodus, and I went and saw Gary and just kind of spent a couple of days there. But we were on our way to the airport, and I was like, well, it's early in the morning. I was like, let me So we stopped and we got breakfast and coffee at Starbucks, and I spent $20.
Wow.
And I'm like, God damn, man. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's 2 records. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
So like, that's how, I never stole music. I wish I understood why people did, because but when it's that easy to just go click,
that's
and
the
have
problem.
it, you know, and I feel bad that I have Apple Music, but I also have, I have just so much good music at my fingertips. So anyway, man, the world's, you got to go with technology and world change. And I hope that all the musicians out there and the crew guys, the crew people, that this is their life, this is their existence,
right,
can get back to normal, and we can do something fun over the next, and these roaring 20s that are coming.
That's right. Now, you sent me this Generation Kill song, Never Relent. I'm going to play the whole song here as we finish this interview up, so you guys listening can hear how badass these guys are and what's coming up from them. See the episode description for links to find Rob and Generation Kill online, and more from Murder Metal Mayhem. So thanks again, Rob, and I'm going to play this fucking song. So thanks, brother.
All right, man. Thanks, buddy, man. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you.
All right, see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Sex take it back, thinking yours of an ugly laugh. I am your God, I own your soul. With your life you play what you wow. Nothing left, you're all spent. I keep digging, never relents.
Mother, man.